Welcome back to God of War 3. We're at I wouldn't say the main hub, but kind of the most revisited area of the game.
Does
This
most
is your major objective of the game.
does
Yeah.
most of the game stay in Hades?
No. We're,
No,
we're
no.
technically out of Hades now.
We are?
Yes.
Okay, well
Sort
they
of.
didn't make it clear that we're out of Hades.
No.
Because I thought we were still in
Narratively,
here.
these guys, judge souls and stuff, so I think we're, at the border of it.
Okay, so if
The outskirts.
so if
of
Hades is the prison of ancient Greece, then this is the courthouse?
I guess, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Also, if we're at the courthouse and we're, sending people to certain places, where's King Yemen's mahogany desk?
God. Oh my god, his name's King Yemen.
Yenma.
Oh, okay. I thought that his name was a pun on Yenma.
I mean, it's Toriyama,
Well, I mean,
so
knowing
it is.
Toriyama, it might be.
But okay,
So.
but I think it's just the same. Well, I was gonna call him a character, but that mythological figure has a lot of different translations for their name. So
That's probably what it is.
it probably is a pun because again, Toriyama can't do anything without naming a pun. He could be writing, I don't know, like a dark tragedy about like the Black Plague, and then the main character's name is Sickly or something. Because that's just the kind of guy that he is. But you know,
Oh. Yeah, I'm just a little too cooled off on Toriyama stuff recently to really care much about the guy. Yeah.
Well, he hasn't done much of note after Dragon Ball Z.
yeah,
I mean,
he's
he,
basically
he did stuff for Super, obviously, but it's like,
he's mostly just chilling out. And whenever they need him to draw characters' designs, he's like, yeah, sure.
So, no, all that Dragon Ball money.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, we need you to do some Dragon Quest monsters this week. Cool. Hey, Chrono Trigger Anniversary. Want to do some art for it? Yeah, sure, whatever.
Maybe.
And I mean, there's worse ways to spend your later years.
no, honestly, he could just retire now and just rake in the Dragon Ball royalty checks and never have to work again.
Pretty
Which-
much.
So I can appreciate him still liking to draw, monsters
Yeah.
and stuff.
You know he's really in it for the passion, not so much the money.
Yeah, and I mean, good for him that he can work however much he wants, because many mangaka artists literally work themselves to death trying to get issues out every week.
How the hell is Oda still alive?
I don't know. But there's several manga where it's just like the author gets themselves into serious bad health issues because they have to get so much.
The Yu Yu
Work done.
Hakusho / Hunter guy, yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of other examples, but I can't think of the names off the top of my head.
This is not looking like a particularly engaging fight, to be honest.
Well, you have to parry.
Do you?
There's a parry?
Yeah, there's a parry in this game.
I didn't know that.
Okay, so parry moves in games, this is probably just me, but I'm really bad at any game that makes you want to parry or counter. Because,
Stay away from revengeance.
I was
Yeah,
about
because-
to say.
because my instinct in a game like this is to dodge before I need to block. Because I don't want to get hit at all. That's my instinct. It's just like, I'm going to get out of the way.
If you're gonna include a parrying system in a game, my feeling is that to make me want to use it, you have to give me a payoff for doing it successfully, which is what a lot of games do, like Royal Guard style in the Devil May Cry series, which you can get away with never using. There's never a point where you have to use Royal Guard, but if you get good at it, you can tear shit up with Royal Guard release.
This is also just me, but I always feel like the enemies never do the moves that are easiest to parry when I'm ready to parry them. It's just like, okay, I'm ready, and then they do the big sweeping attack that will knock you down, and you can't parry. It's just like, all right, enemy, I know you have to do this move sometime, and I'm ready for it, and then I mess it up the moment they actually do.
I brought up Devil May Cry. I should also stress that it's actually one of the best parrying systems that's ever been made in this goddamn genre, because there is nothing in the game that you can't block with a Royal Guard if you're good enough. There is no enemy in the game that you can't block, no move that they can throw your way that you can't block.
I'm guessing that it's just a matter of how hard and how strict the timing is
Yeah.
for each
I
individual.
mean, it's not
But at
always
the same
case, though.
time, the
I mean,
Royal Guard system, like, you'll always... like, if you're blocking when an attack lands, you'll always at least reduce the damage. The timing element is in the Perfect Guard, which charges up your Royal Guard meter more, I believe. It's been a while since I've actually tried using Royal Guard. Royal Guard is something that I really, really like conceptually, but can never, for the life of me, actually get good at, which embarrasses me because I know several people who are excellent at it. But
It's one of those, like, samurai kind of things where it's supposed to be, like, really flashy and stylish, and you block somebody and then you
oh
kill
yeah,
them with one
Dante,
stroke afterwards.
Dante's animations when he does Royal Guard are so show-offy. It's like, hiya, you know, he does poses and stuff.
Well, isn't that just him all the time?
Oh yeah.
Like, I
Yes.
think he goes to bed holding his guns and being like, pew pew.
Well, not
pew, pew in his
necessarily
sleep.
that, but he is a dork, and
You think he doesn't?
his battle animations are designed to show off his personality, and Royal Guard is no exception. Probably the best thing Devil May Cry 5 added to the series, though, was a practice mode where you can just put yourself in a practice void with whatever demon in the game you want and practice against them, which means that you finally have a risk-free environment in which to practice royal guarding against everything. You don't have to go to a specific mission and find a certain enemy in one specific room and let them wail on you until you get it right. So, yeah. Whew.
So, okay, so this guy wants you to do some stuff so you can prove you're
Your worth.
a bad enough dude to save the gods. I mean, kill the gods.
I guess.
Well, at least get out of here.
I mean, didn't we just have to climb out last time, though? There wasn't
Yeah, but that was in East Hades.
Yeah, but so
this is
they
West
added
Hades.
in metal detectors now, did they? After the last Kratos incident, I see. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, props to him for upping security, because this is like the 6th time he's found his way down here.
Yeah, but Kratos probably just walks around the...
Holy hell, though, who builds these places? And
Slaves.
Yeah, probably.
probably, yeah. It's like, you know, you look back at all these magnificent ancient cultures that build such remarkable architecture, and it's like, wow, it's so awe-inspiring. How many slaves did it take to build this? Isn't that a depressing thought?
A lot.
So there's a scene in the miniseries John Adams where they literally have him driving up to the... Not driving, but like in a carriage going towards the White House, and he's like, the place where the president's supposed to live is being built by slaves, whatnot. So, yeah, that's actually a thing.
It would still be called driving.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, driving a carriage.
That's the most important thing to take away from that.
It's just like, you know, that's what the...
Wasn't that a thing with the pyramids, too? Like, the people who were making the pyramids in Egypt were mostly prisoners or slaves?
It was a mix of a lot of different things.
Okay. Alright, guys, we're gonna make the pointiest building you've ever damn seen.
Oh, I love the point.
Remember me!
Can you, like, knock enemies off of ledges and they die that way?
The small ones, yes.
Okay.
For some bigger ones like Minotaurs and stuff have invisible wall stuff going on to make sure you can't just cheese them.
Ah,
But I love cheesing big enemies. They're the best ones to do that, too.
Yeah, but then if you could do that for everything, there'd be no game because you just kick everything off.
Yeah, but that'd be fun.
For like 10 minutes.
The kind of Soul Calibur player that wins every match via ring out.
Yeah.
It's a legitimate strategy.
No, it's not. Go away.
Oh, what? I'm going to play as Link. You just hang out in the corner and grab you once.
well, in any case, what, Minotaur horns?
That's right. They reduced the. They cut in half the amount of items you need to get.
Because you have 3 bars to fill up in this game instead of 2.
I suppose so. I also think a part of it is just because just
It's also-
the length of the game
Yeah,
in
it's
general.
also shorter. Yeah, makes sense.
How much shorter is this one?
This is about a 6-hour game.
And how long were the old?
10
About-
to 10-ish.
About 10 to 12 hours.
Okay. Was this something that people complained about when the game first came out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I distinctly remember people saying that God of War 3 was too short.
Because I know that generally speaking, people really liked the second one. I remember there was a lot of hype for God of War 3, but I wasn't a big PlayStation person, so I don't really remember what the
The reception was generally positive, but with a lot of mixed results involved.
I think it's because there was so much buzz generated for the game that, like,
You
the
kind
game
of
looks amazing, it plays really well, but it's so short. And I think it's
and the
because
story
this
is
was...
not very good.
Yeah, and the story is also really hit and miss. Because I think this is the case where everything was put into production values. But in terms of the gameplay structure, it in a way kind of feels secondary.
Like
Which is weird to say because of how solid the game is, like from a gameplay stance, but it's also like there's not much there.
it's God of War 2 again, for the most part,
God of War.
which is fine, but you kind of expect a bigger evolution on the gameplay.
Well,
front
I
when
would
you're
say
moving to
God
new
of War
hardware.
2, but less, in a way. And I don't mean less as in lesser quality. I mean less as in not as much.
There's less to do.
Yeah, one of the things that was striking to me about God of War 2 was that they were actually trying to mix in quite a bit of variety along the way. And they threw so many goddamn situations at you. God of War 3 is pretty basic on the whole, as far as God of War gameplay is concerned. So we've got a really flashy and pretty looking game by the standards of the time anyway, but not a whole lot of substance in the God of War
Well,
sense, not the Data Boy sense.
So, like, I know that the combat is generally mostly the same from the other games. The only real differences are the weapons and stuff like that, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So, is that maybe part of it? Like, there's not enough
There's-
that feels different when you play it?
I mean, that's part of it, yeah.
There's stuff Kratos can do here that he can't do in the other two games, though. You know, so I would say out of all the
It's
three
just-
games, I would say the combat's more robust here.
Yeah.
But again, there's not much to do.
Yeah,
with
I would
it.
say it's also not major stuff that's been changed. Like, you have that grapple thing you can do, and that's kind of it. Like, obviously, you have new weapons, you have a few new
Well-
magic attacks. There's all that stuff, but
It's one thing that the gameplay hasn't changed over much, but that's true for a lot of ongoing series. In fact, whenever an ongoing series hits its third entry, you're inevitably going to get people complaining about how little the gameplay has evolved, no matter how good that gameplay is. But
I mean, not strictly so, because, I mean, back on the PS1 days, you know, Crash 3 and Spyro 3 had radically different stuff going on in the games as well.
yeah, and people still
Well, they-
complained
well,
about how they hadn't
Well,
evolved.
I mean, you
enough.
can't please everybody.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, that's normal. What is a little disappointing is, okay, we've already covered how this game is shorter than 2. You're also not doing as many different things in the course of your adventure as you did in the previous 2 games, though. So, in that sense, it feels a little bit more mechanically basic than the other ones, even though the combat is technically better, like, on the whole. The most varied things that are happening during this game are mostly visual. And, you know, for better or worse, because there were definitely parts of 1 and 2 that were cumbersome, because they were trying to be more varied than this. So, part of the reason for them not doing as much might be because they saw those areas and realized, hey, you know, people might enjoy the game more if we weren't trying to mix it up quite so much.
Well, that, you were talking about Spyro and Crash. One of the biggest complaints people have about the third games of those series is that they added stuff just for the sake of variety.
More so with Spyro than Crash.
Well, yeah, but
because Crash 3 is the same length more or less as 2. For the
yeah,
most
but
part.
people talked about how they didn't like the vehicles and stuff because they were just there for variety for variety's
Although,
sake.
There was a bit of a different design mentality going into games during the PlayStation 1 era. It was more experimental. Less like adding things in for the sake of adding things in, and more we want to see what kind of stuff we can pull off with this fancy new 3D technology, you know. But you definitely got things like classic Tomb Raider, where by the time Tomb Raider 3 rolled around, critics were complaining that, you know, the formula wasn't evolving enough. Which is why we got...
Which feels like a vague complaint.
It's a vague complaint,
to be fair.
And the result was we got, like, frickin' Tomb Raider Chronicles and...
Blasto.
Well, I'm just talking about, like, within the Tomb Raider series, we got Tomb Raider Chronicles, and it was a slapdash mess. Although that was partly because the designers just really did not want to make it. They went to the trouble of killing Lara Croft off so that they wouldn't have to make a sequel, but ended up having to make a sequel anyway.
She got better.
She didn't get better, no. Tomb Raider, well, she did get better, but not until Angel of Darkness. Tomb Raider Chronicles was like people telling stories at her funeral. So it was all flashbacks.
I remember that one time Laura did a backflip off of a roof. That was great.
The one time...
I remember that
Oh.
one time she stabbed a dinosaur. Pretty neat.
The one time that happened? Didn't that happen like 20 or 40 times?
She stabbed a dinosaur, and then she stabbed another dinosaur, and then she walked down the rocky hallway and stabbed another dinosaur.
Stabbed?
I'm thinking she had a vendetta.
Stabbed? What did she stab him with? Is there a stabbing weapon in Tomb Raider?
Are you sure
Now
you're
there
not
is.
thinking of Dino Crisis? Right, I am. Sorry.
Sorry, back to Laura.
I mean,
then she backflipped off the
there
roof
are
again.
dinosaurs in Tomb Raider, but you mostly shoot at them.
There's no knife in Tomb Raider at all.
There might be one in the reboot series, not sure. But let's just say the combat controls in classic Tomb Raider are not suited to melee combat at all.
Yeah,
No.
but neither are they in Resident
No,
Evil. and
they
still have a knife
just
in
give
that
you
game
they just
either.
give you infinite ammo for your handguns, so you don't have to melee anything. If you want to do more damage to the bigger enemies, you have your shotguns and other things, but infinite ammo handguns for the win. So for simple stuff like wolves, you just hop around like a maniac and spam fire your handguns, and they'll probably die before they kill you. Most of the time.
Jesus Christ, Kratos. How do you not throw up spinning that fast?
Right
Holy-
round, baby. Right round.
John, this is a Sony property. Their mascots are used to spinning around really quick. Crash does it. Jack has
Whoa.
a spinny move.
Was Jack really a mascot, though? I feel like...
He was Naughty Dog. He was
Yeah,
their
but that
he was
doesn't
their flagship company at the
I have
time.
to agree. I feel that the Jack and Daxter series did not
It-
have the same sort of grab as
It
Crash
sort of
did.
started out.
Well, no, it didn't.
It sort of
but-
started out trying to be that, but then very quickly changed direction. So
Right. Well, because the platform mascot was already dying by the early
Yeah,
2000s.
Jack and Daxter was like the last
yeah,
real
but if you
one of those.
well, not necessarily the last one, like Ratchet and Clank, I would say.
Well, Ratchet
those
and
quickly-
Clank
those also-
continued on. That was also the thing.
Ratchet and Clank quickly became more of a action shootery kind of game.
Oh well,
That's
it
also
started
platformer.
out.
Yeah.
It started out as an action shootery kind of game, but it also maintained mascot status a little bit longer than anything else around at the time. So
That's fair. I guess we will continue on our trek next time in God of War 3.